Hello everyone, I'm back with Phil before he goes off to the Caribbean, and we're having a bit of an explore around the village of Jacksdale in Nottinghamshire. Used to be quite a significant place in terms of industry, now all but gone. But we should hopefully be finding some old tramways, some old railways, some old ironworks, some old colliery remains, a wharf that came off the Cromford canal and a tramway attached to that, and various other bits and bobs that we're not really sure about. It's also hella squelchy. Yeah, Phil's walking like John Wayne because he's normally got appropriate footwear, and has been taken out by a tree and all. It's not started well. So we're walking away now from what was Jacksdale Colliery originally, and then Pyehill Colliery once it sort of amalgamated with 3 other collieries, and it was quite a big site, and it was open up until around about 1986. But since then they've open cast a lot and they've re-landscaped it and rewilded it, so if you just see it from the air, it's just, you know, a few relatively new planted trees that are trying to attack me, and fields. But we're going to try and find some remains of the railway lines that went into that colliery. Okay, so back there you've got Pyehill Colliery. That's where we started walking down from. As I mentioned earlier, that's all totally open cast and completely rewilded basically. This through here is the Midland line. This is the Erewash Valley line. That'll take you up basically to Claycross, Chesterfield, and then down to Long Eaton. But what we're stood on now is the Great Northern Railway. So this is actually a track bed that we're on, and we should be able to hopefully find a series of bridges on this line that still remain. Okay, so I'm now on the track bed of that Great Northern Railway. This was a line that came from Nottingham down to Pinxton, and it was built in 1876, closed in 1963, so it's an early casualty really. But I've spoken about the Great Northern Railway before. The reason it was significant in these areas is actually the Midland Railway, which is that one that's still active now. That had a complete monopoly over the Nottinghamshire and Derbyshire coalfield, and basically, like the man from Del Monte, they could name the price. And so a lot of the colliery owners, including the colliery owners here, got together to try and get another line, another railway company in here, so they could at least have some competition, and that was the Great Northern. So here we go. Here's the first proper remain. There's your active line there, and here we go, look.
So this here, this is on an embankment. It's like this all the way.
Is it really?
It's on an embankment pretty much from here, through Jacksdale, over the other side, and doesn't level off for miles. So it's all been built on embankments, which is why Jacksdale Station was a high level station, because it's up, and there were viaducts straight after as well, remember? So it's up all the way now. One of these used to go under all the running lines there, look, and go into Ridding's steel ironworks, it was called.
What, so a tram line went under here?
A tram line come under here. It was quite a tight curve. It came out of Pyehill, and if it were owned by the same company, the steel, you know, there's some reason why they ran a tramway. But it came at quite an angle and shot under all running lines, and it's very hard to trace up there, and just shot up there.
So Phil mentioned a second ago about Jacksdale Station being on a viaduct. It looks incredible. If you look at old photos of it, it really is an unbelievable structure, an unbelievable station, and pretty sad to be honest that it's long gone.
Nice.
What we got?
Did you see that?
There's a sleeper, Phil.
Well,
there you go. Done. End the video. So here you go. Hang on, there's something down here as well. Let me come down to have a look at that. It's difficult because, like I keep saying, they've open cast off this colliery completely, just decimated it. So what you see now as the landscape in terms of the hills and what have you, that doesn't necessarily mean that's exactly how it was. Oh, nearly went there. There we go, so we're underneath the bridge, look. I love it how the bricks go like that. And there's something
deck chair in here.
Oh, perfect. Ow!
A wooden one, look.
Oh wow, how random.
Don't know what that is. This has had some hefty going over it. Was there another running line on this one?
I'm wondering if a branch came off from here then down into the colliery maybe.
Yeah, because this is definitely quite possibly looks substantial, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. There you go. And it's not that old. Look at this. This here, that's.
But what came under here, because it basically would have hit that look. Look at that. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh wow, look at that brickwork.
So that would have been much lower, wouldn't it? This has all been filled in, hasn't it? So it's quite possible that was at 10 foot, and it's just been filled in. But would it still have gone under there?
I don't know. That's one for the old maps, I think, that one.
I think you'll struggle on maps trying to work out what that is. But that line came out at an angle, because look at the skew of the bridge.
Yeah.
Come over there, look, there's another entry point into Colliery.
So is there a line coming out of here then?
Yeah, there was lines that dropped down and all scooted under here, and one of them went straight under a tramway tunnel and carried on, but because we can't see where it is on the other side of that line, because where we stood, it could have gone under here, I don't know.
So this must be filled in then, on the floor?
This is infill.
Yeah.
And this is going to be, this would have been lower.
So then that's got to be lower as well.
Yeah, that'd be lower. So if that were lower, it wouldn't go anywhere there. It must have gone into, that might have been where it went underneath, but then again, it looks wide for a tramway tunnel.
Answers on a postcard if you're from Jacksdale. So we'll follow these lines down now. Interesting thing about Jacksdale is if you'd come here in about 1811, it was a farm, didn't exist. And then obviously the industry then arrived, and then the railways arrived, and so by the sort of end of the 1800s, this place was an absolute hub with all sorts going on, all sorts of railways, most of which unfortunately are no longer around.
So we need to drop down there, look. So there's another one here. So by my reckoning, there were 3 lines that went out of the colliery. This one, if it's not too heavily filling, could have joined onto the. It could have come out, gone under LNER, and it could have joined Midland, because it's almost at the same level, isn't it? Because Midland had a connection, obviously, to Pyehill Colliery.
Yeah. Okay, I'll go over the other side then. So to clear up, Phil's calling this line the LNER. Basically, it was the Great Northern Railway, but it became the LNER when they nationalised. So it may get called either one today, but it's the same thing. Oh, that's a cool structure. Look at that. Look at the coping stones as well. So you've got lines coming off here. Now they're going into the colliery. And obviously, like I say, it's just fields now and newly planted trees. So it's hard to judge. But then another line would have come straight on. And that was the continuation of this main line. So that's going up to Nottingham there. Again, it's a skewed bridge though. So what is coming under here? Like you say.
Look how wide this decking would have been. I reckon this will be an entrance off the Midland look.
Yeah, so Midland line comes off into the colliery. That's coming over the top of the main line, and then that's going off into the colliery as well. It would have been serious, wouldn't it? Should we come down this side? At least this seems like a trodden path. That's amazing. It's even got like a boundary posts look on the top there. Just hiding away. What's funny is because it's black with the engineering brick and then the regular brick, that looks like the Titanic to me. Phil's going on a cruise, hopefully not with the same ending. But look at that. Incredible, just sat there. It does look like one of those old cruise ships, doesn't it? Like the Queen Mary or something. So we've got to the end of the Queen Mary, and we've got the same thing as back there basically. So the main line's going across of the Great Northern, but again there's a skew bridge. So these lines are coming off the Midland again and into the colliery. So Phil's just made the point, there's probably a triangle of lines then coming out of that colliery. There we go again, you've got boundary posts on the top. Even a little bit of steel in between there. That's amazing. Look at that. Just abandoned. Looks awesome though. So we're going to walk away now basically from Pyehill Colliery. But it's an interesting story, before we leave, is this was opened in 1874 as Jacksdale Colliery, and then it basically amalgamated with another 2 collieries, and it was kind of expanded by this guy called James Oakes. And And that's when it became, oh, here we go. We've got sleepers in place, look.
Well, these were sidings.
Yeah, Midland sidings then here, aren't they? Yeah. Sorry, easily distracted. But this James Oakes and Sons, they'd actually opened collieries before this one. And one of them was down by Cromford Canal, which we're going to get to in the not so distant future. And they were basically trying to get deeper and deeper to find something called the Kilburn seam, which if you're a coal miner, you'll know what that means. But for me, someone like me, I just know it as I think it's quite deep. But it hit water and so it flooded. And then in 1846, there was this act of parliament that basically allowed them to take all this wastewater from inside the colliery, stick it in these coal tubs, and then chuck it in the canal. That was fine, do that. But then they hit oil, right? But I don't think they realised what they'd hit. So they basically just thought, oh, we've got this kind of like quite, you know, black tarry water. That's fine, chuck that in the canal. And they did. So in 1846, kids from Jacksdale were setting fire to the Cromford Canal. They were going down there with basically like cinders and chucking them on the top of the canal, and the canal was going up in flames. Little sprinter. So a bridge would have gone over where that camper van is and come
it's kind of
across here. Yeah, you can make it out, can't you? If I was walking around here, my spidey senses is another train through there. See, it's pretty busy for trains now. So obviously when it had all those colliery branches and it had this Great Northern Line, it would have been hectic. Me and Phil walked around this area, sort of, ages ago now, last summer I think, and we were walking down from Codner Park. We did two episodes on the Butterley Company, and Codner is literally just up the road. And this station that was sat on top of this viaduct, obviously as we've said, there's no remains of that, it's just, you know, the viaduct is gone and it was sat on top of that. But it was called Codner Park and Selston Station when it was opened. And then it didn't get called Jacksdale until 1950, even though it's in the middle of Jacksdale. So I'm not quite sure that was, because Selston's right on the other side and Codner Park is on the other side of the Cromford Canal. So I don't know why that was, but you know, they thought, oh, actually we should call it Jacksdale, and then 13 years later closed the whole thing anyway. Okay, so we're at the road. Zero remains whatsoever. The railway went across on a huge viaduct there, and that's the station master's house right there. And so the station would have been up, you know, up in the air. Now the co-op, what's that got to do with the history of Jacksdale? But it's actually quite interesting, isn't it? What was it, the co-op?
I can't recall, but originally in the 80s it was Woodies, and it was a nightclub, and before that it was a venue for the who's who's appeared in Jacksdale performing, like UK Subs, who else did we quote earlier?
Depeche Mode.
Depeche Mode, yeah, Stranglers, Billy Fury, that's just a name but four, and it's hard to imagine that co-op used to have so many famous people in the old days coming to perform. It was really famous.
Ultravox as well, that was one you said as well, yeah. I think what happened in the end, from what I could find out, was there was some kick-off with the Hells Angels or something, some biker gang or something, and it all kicked off in there. And it got shut down, and that was the end of it in terms of a kind of illustrious music venue. Okay, so we're coming down towards Portland Wharf now, but actually this was a tramway, Phil.
Yeah, ran over under here.
Underneath the road.
Yeah.
There you go, as all these villages have in Derbyshire and Nottinghamshire. There you go, Pyehill Colliery, 1985 it went. But a lot of these villages, they have these Portland Wharf that we're going to walk down to now. This was opened in 1822, and what it was there for was to get coal out of those collieries, those Portland collieries, on this tram line that you can actually walk on, down to the Cromford Canal. But the Cromford Canal obviously came in the 1700s. Benjamin Outram, we've covered loads of that before. This here, believe it or not,
Water.
that was water.
That was all water.
That was all water.
And if you turn around there, we were under, this was just arch after arch after arch going down there, the huge viaduct. And you can see it on old pictures, you've got to put one on to see. It was massive.
Giant viaduct there, railway station just over there, up in the air, coming right across. And some of the photos from the sky, from Britain from above, it just dominated. Yeah, you can't imagine it now looking at it. There you can see the tramway, and actually now you look at those stones, you can see that, I mean, they look like they've got water markings on, because this was a harbour, which is crazy now. I mean, it's a play park, but there you go. And the tramway was on top of that, went all the way down to the canal. Now if we walk down to the canal, hopefully we should be able to see an aqueduct, because actually the Cromford Canal had to come across the Erewash River.
Yeah.
Wow, okay, well that's Portsmouth. I'm not sure why that's there, but
I don't either. So that's just up there. So there's where we were just walking along. I mean, is this filled in by then? The basin were filled in the 50s. I can't tell what dated that shot were.
no, it doesn't say.
But there's Wagstaff Lane, and you can see why they had an engine house at the top, because look, you can even see it in 2D.
It's
that
very
was
steep,
It was
yeah.
steep, so they must have pulled that up and then it went on the level to 2 or 3 collieries that it served further up there, you see.
So there's Pyehill Colliery then, isn't it?
Yeah.
So that's where we started the walk actually. So we've come here,
Yeah.
kind of gone round here, sort of slightly out of shot, and then come back round to here.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so what we're going to do now, we're stood here, we're going to come along and we're just going to join up with the HMS Warrior. I'm not quite sure why that's there. So here, that's the River Erewash, and this was the entrance into Portland Basin, and here there was an aqueduct, and I think, to be honest, the only remains of that are probably this wall here, and probably that there is some kind of, you know, stanchion that would have come up, and the canal would have gone over the top of there on an aqueduct and in to where we were there in that field, which was a wharf all full of water, and you had a huge embankment, viaducts and stuff going over the top there. Amazing how it would have looked. Would have just been unbelievable. But this is still nice. I mean, this is an old bridge as well, isn't it? Yeah. And then what you've got here is you've got the continuation of that tramway, I believe, that then went across over there into Codner Park Works, where me and Phil have actually been and done a video before and had a look at that, so we won't bother repeating ourselves. What Codner Park Works looked like, absolutely enormous, and it was actually open. It was open, I think, as a carriage works until the 70s, wasn't it? I think it was about 1975, I think. So there's the Cromford Canal. I've done a fair few, walked in and around that. I'm trying to think how many walks we've done around the Cromford Canal. It's actually like it's almost like a staple walk, isn't it? The Cromford Canal. You end up doing bits and bobs around it loads. So this area that we explored before of the Codner Park Works, and then obviously the Pyehill Colliery where we started, it's all open cast. And I think one of the reasons for that was actually this part of the Nottinghamshire coalfield was completely exposed. And I thought what that meant was the fact that you could see the coal like it was on the top, in which case, like, winning. But what it actually means is that you basically don't have to bore through rock to get to it. So it would have been buried by mud and turf and grass and trees and whatever else. So you still have to put some graft in to get the coal out, but you don't have to bore through, you know, layers and layers of different rock seams and stuff like that, which obviously would save them a fortune. So through there, that's the active Midland Railway is kicking off through there, so we may well hear some trains. Cromford Canal carries on down towards Langley Mill.
It's a wipeout.
It's a total wipeout, yeah. But here we go, so that's interesting, isn't it? Yeah. So what was it then, like almost like a...
So it's just a spur going from LNER or GM, whatever they call it, onto Midland, a connecting line for whatever reason, I don't know. But there was scheduled freight trains that used it up until the end. It had a decking bridge across it. I can't remember if it was double track or not, or single. I've only ever seen one picture of it.
But there must have been more going off to get across there then.
Well, you can see it remains at the bridge on the other side as well.
Oh, can you? Oh, there, so you can see the brickwork, yeah. Nothing like as much, but there is a bit there. Oh, yeah, there you go. So that went through there and off and joined the active line and then went into Codner Park Works, which is just there. So I'm wondering what this is about here. Whether there was a farmer's access through there as well. Yeah. We ate Derby. We don't. We're going up. Right, there we go. All right, should we climb up on that then, Phil?
Yeah.
Okay, we can get up on this bit of track bed then.
Yeah, it's a bizarre bit of track bed that they even let you go up because it's so small. I mean, who wants to go up there and walk on it apart from us?
Yeah, well, yeah, I was going to say, I really want to. So just climb up onto that track bed. To be honest, Phil made a really good point a minute ago. That it's actually a real floodplain here. So actually these embankments that have just been left have probably been left with good reason actually to kind of help with flooding. Look, as you can see. I mean, we're not far from other collieries, are we? You've got Selston, you've got Brinsley. Yeah. You can complain about those headstocks again, like we do in every video.
Oh yeah, shall I get down there to see what's going on?
No, oh.
Nottingham Forest?
Oh no,
Nottingham.
It says we ate Derby on the other side. I'm offended. But there we go. Single track, double track, not entirely sure. I'd say probably double. It looks wide enough, but you never know. So we'll follow this down for a bit. So that's it. We've been walking this for what, a minute, and it's already gone. It literally is just a little chunk. So then this carried on, skirted round to the right and joined up with that GN, the Great Northern Line that was going across that amazing viaduct. Now whether you can get on it again the other side, I mean, a path does continue. I mean, that's there for a reason, isn't it? We want to get onto that line to get back into Jacksdale again. Whether or not we can, not likely. So there you go, that's where the line came across. No remains, unfortunately. Great Northern came across this field and there's absolutely no remains at all, obviously. It's been replaced with a horse. Came across and into Jacksdale. So what we're going to do is kind of blag it a bit, I think, try and see if we can't get on a little bit of track bed there. And you can just see the ump. Phil's got the ump. So whether the line would have gone underneath here, I don't think so. I think it'd have gone over, wouldn't it? Because there's a bit there that's like an embankment. So it would have gone over. Oh, mate. It's tough. Mate. Oh, mate, hang on. It's a bit of track. Is that track? Yeah, a little bit of track.
No way.
Rusted away. And there you go. Well, it just looks like a bit of nothing. There you go.
It is track.
You can see the bridge, look.
Amazing what you found when you go for a week.
In it just. Look at that. And the line obviously was an embankment above that, but there's a bridge there just hiding away. And a bit of track.
That's bizarre.
Yeah. Well, we've got a sleeper as well. Oh no, hang on, it's a gate post, look. That's a gate post then. Goodness me, amazing. That's the result, isn't it? Yeah. I didn't think there was anything until you get back towards the centre of Jacksdale. So, culvert. Again, I have to dedicate that to Let's Explore. Every culvert so far, there you go. That's yours. So we're just walking back to the to get on the track bed, and there you go. That's on the side. Gone but not forgotten. So through there, where that van is, I don't know if you can make that. There's a white van there. That is that culvert, that bridge that we found in a sort of pile of rubble. So the track bed came across here on embankment, and now we're on it, aren't we, Phil?
Yeah.
So we've done a circle basically where we've walked the Cromford Canal, and now we're coming back on what was the Great Northern Line up until 1963. So what we'll do is we'll just follow this back to where the viaduct started at Portland Wharf, and that'll be the end of us. So we've started off at the site of Pyehill Colliery. No remains there, but some of the remains of the lines into it were great. I loved that.
Yeah, to be honest.
Yeah, tons and tons of remains down there of the old Great Northern Railway, which was really cool. And then, you know, Portland Wharf, that old tramway. That tramway went in 1921, I think, or 1922, and yet it's still there. You know, which is great. And then obviously Cromford Canal. I've done so many walks there, but it's lovely. And this little bit of track bed, and that culvert back there, and all that stuff. I've not seen this before, so for me it's a bit of a geeky adventure.
I never knew that culvert was there.
So that's us, that's the end. We're walking down now off that embankment. We would have been walking onto a massive, amazing looking viaduct, but unfortunately that's long gone, that's in the past. But thankfully some of these photos remain, so you can see just how majestic that was. I didn't think I'd be using the word majestic today, but there you go. As always, thank you so much for watching, and have a great holiday, Phil.
Yeah, cheers mate, see you when I get back. Yeah.
Yep, and we'll be back exploring more of Derbyshire, Nottinghamshire and further afield.